My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Frankenstein. And before we talk about Frankenstein, let's talk about Frankenstein. Because if you know me, you would know that I do not like books. I do not enjoy reading whatsoever, but a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I did. And if you were to ask me what my favorite book is, I would say Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That book is just a brilliant masterpiece. And if we're talking about previous adaptations of it, I'm not the biggest fan of the Universal classic monster movies, but Frankenstein and especially The Bride of Frankenstein would be my two favorites. I hate the Kenneth Branagh movie. I hate the Frankenstein Theory, which is a found footage film. Hate I, Frankenstein with Aaron Eckhart. But I do love Frankenweenie, and I also really enjoy the James McAvoy movie, Victor Frankenstein. So, this is a story that will be told time and time again, and I do think this newest one is a solid movie. So let's begin by talking about the cast, and Oscar Isaac does a perfectly fine job. I thought he was great for the first hour of this movie, but eventually the writing started to drag his performance down, and he is a little iffy by the end. Still good enough, definitely has his great moments, but it's an uneven performance. But Jacob Elordi gives the best performance of 2025 here. He is absolutely phenomenal, and I know it's very unlikely, but he should win the Oscar. He just brings so much humanity and so much soul to this character, and he manages to be deeply sympathetic but also terrifying at the same time, and he just really brings this character to life in a pitch perfect manner. I'll say it right now, one of the greatest monster performances ever. Then we've got Mia Goth, who does a fine job. I just wish her character was written a bit better. Felix Camel does... he's in the movie. He's not bad, he just doesn't really have much to work with. Christoph Waltz does a pretty good job. He brought enough personality to his character. Charles Dance is barely in the movie, but he still really stands out. Lars Mikkelsen does a pretty decent job, I would say. But David Bradley is also fantastic. He's only in the movie for 20, 25, 30 minutes. But he just brings so much here, and he really just stood out to me. I've always found him to be an underrated actor, and I'm glad he got some time to shine here. So the cast is a bit hit or miss, but the hits really hit. And I do think this is a well-directed movie by Guillermo del Toro. The visuals look fantastic. I love the sets, I love the visual effects, and it's just always a nice looking movie. And I also like the music by Alexandre Desplat. It just adds some nice emotion, some nice heart, and it elevates every scene it's present in. But then we've got the story. And this movie is very ambitious in terms of its storytelling, and it just feels huge in scope. Like, there is so much going on, and there's so much to this story, and I really do appreciate that. I think there are some truly terrific plot elements here, especially in the first half. I actually found the first half of this movie to be perfect. Like, you've got Victor's childhood, which is really well done. You've got all his experiments. And you've also got this kind of romance, which does it does have its sweet moments. It does. And even though it's in the second half, there's this one long stretch of film focusing only on the monster, and that is some of the best stuff of this movie. So they're all things here I truly love, but it does lose me a bit eventually. And I think my biggest issue with this movie is the writing of Victor Frankenstein, because at first, he is a character who has just been consumed by grief. Well, bringing something back to life has become his only life goal. And as a result, he's a weird guy with questionable morals, but you still kinda like him. But then there just comes a point in the movie where he kinda becomes abusive just like that. And I don't know, maybe I missed something in the first half, but that transition felt very jarring to me. And I don't want to give it away, but even at the end of the movie, there's another jarring transition, and it just kind of felt like he was whatever the movie needed him to be, and I just wish he was written in a more consistent manner. I also thought Elizabeth's character was odd. Because, she's engaged to Victor's brother, but there's a tiny bit of an affair that starts happening. And then, I don't know, it just kind of feels like the movie loses focus of that, and I don't know, I just found the handling of this character by the end to be very frustrating. And the final, I'll say 20 minutes of this movie are a bit of a mess. It's difficult to say because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there's this wedding, and just from that point on, the movie kind of lost me, and some of the emotions in the end didn't land as hard as I wanted them to. Also, I do love how this is a movie exploring so much about life and love and death and grief and forgiveness and pain and suffering. There is so much going on in this movie, but sometimes I just felt like it was a little unfocused. Like, now it's about this, and now it's about this, and now it's about this. I would have liked a more consistent storyline. Like, okay, Last of Us 2 is about religion and empathy and perspective and tribalism, and it's about so much, but there is a clear storyline where it's about love. Arcane is about class, and it's about pain and forgiveness and growth. But the storyline is trauma and how people deal with it. So, I'm okay with movies exploring a bunch of different ideas. I would have just liked one it focuses on a little bit more for the entire movie. So, I know it sounds like I'm shitting on it. I'm not. I was loving so much of this movie, so the issue stood out to me just a little bit more, but I still really liked it. I think it's incredibly well crafted. Jacob Elordi is phenomenal, and there are some truly terrific plot elements. There is lots to love here. I just feel like the back half of this movie suffers a little bit from its ambition, and some of the writing could have been better, and it is a long movie, and you do feel it. But I'll still give Frankenstein a 7 out of 10. Honestly, Guillermo del Toro's best movie since Crimson Peak. But Frankenstein, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.